we ready?
Turn that shit up. You have now entered Staying on Point, powered by Digital Sucker Punch. Discussing all things business, fitness, and marketing. You're about to go on a deep dive interviewing some of the best in the business when it comes to thought leaders, entrepreneurship, and business. Buckle up, put your seatbelts on, you're in for a ride. And welcome back for another episode of Staying on Point. I've got another phenomenal guest with us today, probably one of the hardest working men in the industry, and you'll soon find out why. Has built two of his own seven-figure e-commerce brands, scaled them up to seven figures, and now has gone over to the dark side into the agency world and has created probably one of the leading e-commerce content creation, direct response advertising agencies. I wouldn't say advertising, ad creation agencies, in the US. I would even bet in the world. I'm going to go for that right now. If everyone would like to welcome to Staying on Point, Cody Iverson. How are you, my main man? What's happening, brother?
Hey, doing incredible, man. Thank you so much for having me on Staying on Point, and really just doing good, man. How are you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. I think some of the points we discussed on before hitting record. Here in Australia, we're not too affected by what's going on in COVID, so we're in a bit of a bubble. So for us, it's sort of business as usual, life as usual. But I know for you, you got a lot more restrictions. But with those cons, obviously comes the pros, which has given you the opportunity to head down, bum up into the work that you love doing. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really great not having so many opportunities to get distracted because there's nothing going on. But beyond that, COVID has been exceptionally good to us. We've 5x'd the number of team members that we have internally since COVID started, and multiple times overgrown revenue. So it's been good for us, man.
That's phenomenal. I mean, and just to give some context, what we're talking about there, if you wouldn't mind just tipping your hat just that little bit. So we're talking about VizCap here right now, and please, on that note, let's use that as a transition. Can you tell us what VizCap's all about? Because I'm so excited about this, because I think being an agency owner myself, working in the direct response world, when working with other clients, the biggest bottleneck for us is ad creative, ad content. Can they provide us enough volume, enough quality to do a good job for them? And this is where you guys come along and just absolutely knock it out of the park. So, please tell us a little bit about VizCap, what you guys do, how it came about, all that type of jazz.
Sure, absolutely. So, prior to VizCap, my partner and I, Tyler, had success in the e-com space. One of the things that we specialized in was the creatives. We had success early on and were able to get into some really great masterminds and grow our network. Although we started to see people were still having issues with creatives, and we were in between products at the time that my partner Tyler made a video as a favor for one of our buddies, and it did well, and it was just kind of it dawned on us we could really tap into the network that we have to be able to provide them with creatives that convert. And that's kind of where VizCap got started. So our background is in marketing, and that's kind of what sets us apart, is that we've spent our own money on social. So we understand what it takes to convert and scale, and how often you need to be refreshing your creative. So the creatives that we make for VizCap are direct response focused, conversion focused creatives. That we build in a modular system to be able to intertwine parts and rapidly produce mass numbers of videos. So we work with 7, 8, 9-figure established e-commerce brands and help them grow through social advertising.
Sure. And and there's some real key points that you mentioned there that I'm aware of, and I know of plenty of good content creation companies, but they're primarily from a branding perspective. They can create content that tells a great story, that is visually appealing, but that's vastly different from creating direct response content that is there to elicit a response, to get people to click, to get people to buy, and that's a whole other ball game, and that's where the real magic lies in what you guys do. And because you've got that marketing background, you understand that. So, that's ultimately what sets you guys apart, I'd imagine. So
yeah, so like one of our USPs is like we're not just like geeks with cameras. So we're
Nice.
do more than we do more than just shooting like pretty stuff.
Sure.
We ultimately want people to take action, relate to their desires, mess with their emotions, and provide the solution and sell lots of products.
Very cool, very cool. And in terms of the brands that you work with, fill us in. Is it primarily just physical product, direct to consumer? Is there particular niches that you specifically work with, or that you've got a grasp on that you can get great results for? Again, fill us in a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So we primarily, it's only e-com businesses basically. And really it's just D2C. So we don't touch too many services. We're really good in the physical product space, and primarily things that we can really tap heavily into the direct response, aspects. As far as like industries go, we're in pretty much anything that you can think of, from car detailing to electronics to cosmetics to vaginal care, touching them all.
I've seen that. That's perfect word. Perfect sentence just to have after that particular product.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unreal. I've lost my train of thought there. So, in terms of that, and not the vaginal products per se, but in terms of the industries and the brands and the products that you're working with, give me a little bit of a rundown into what type of equipment and styles and approach that you will have to creating the content. And let me give you some context here. The reason why I'm asking is because I know 100% the people that are going to be viewing this right now are either brand owners themselves, primarily brand owners, or wanting to start a brand, or in that transition where they're going, well, do we look for someone to assist us with our content creation, or do we ever fiddle with this with ourselves before we realize how hard it is and then go give it to the experts? And so I want you to paint a picture in terms of the magic that occurs behind the scenes with what you guys do, because I've seen a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. I've been there at Shoot, obviously at the masterminds that we attend together. I've seen you guys work and then piece together the work, and it's a phenomenal process. Can you paint the picture of the magic that happens?
Yeah, absolutely. The process is a long one.
The dumbed down version.
Yeah, so I'm going to break it down like this. For us to be able to do what we do now, it took me and my partner working alone roughly 6 months, and then a team of 5 roughly 8 months to be able to produce content at scale to really grow your brand. So it's been a long process to be able to put that team in place. But once we get to the content creation portion, everything starts with research. So researching competition, researching the customer, the demographics, everything like that. Now, if you're a new brand starting out, I would recommend digging deep into who your customer is and trying to have UGC content created. Do some unboxings. Those work exceptionally well, and you don't need to you don't need to hire an agency to do that. It'll definitely help, but new brand owners, that's a great way to get started. That's what I would ultimately recommend. Beyond that, the cameras, equipment, that's mainly my partner Tyler's realm, but this guy's got all sorts of gadgets, all sorts of lights.
I've seen that dude rigged up. He looks like something that is just fallen out of space.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got gimbals. He's got these things that hang up over him. He's got the Black Magics, the 6Ks, lots of lights, screens, all sorts of stuff. So not really my realm. I usually see them and I'm like, nerd.
Yeah. Wedgie. Um, so I mean, I know, like I've seen you just put in the hours. I hear about you putting in the hours. We're in masterminds together. I know the type of effort and energy that you put into this sort of stuff. So what's your role within the company, and how do you push the needle of VizCap and what you're trying to do here? Now, I know you're the CEO, that's your role. So are you primarily working at a top level, 30,000 foot down, and just sort of, flicking switches, turning dials, and ensuring that everyone's doing what they do and pushing the needle forward? That's where you're at with this at the moment?
Um, that's where I like to spend most of my time, ideally. It's not always that way, but that just goes with, we're still in the startup phase. So like there are days I'm still writing copy. That was kind of like my specialty, was like the ad writing side of the business. But when I'm not 30,000 feet above, I like to at least get into the departments, like each department once a week or every other week, just to be able to like identify those things that like the ground team may not see, that I can use to like fine tune and optimize their workflow.
Sure.
So just like being involved in the day to day helps me do my job better from 30,000 feet up.
Yeah, fantastic. And as that cliche sort of goes, working on your business opposed to in the business, but still keeping your finger on the pulse.
Exactly. Yeah. Right now, really focused on growing the team. We have a big influencer who's going to be bringing in a lot of leads, and then SEO is going to be started up for like 2 months from now. We should be getting leads, but up until now, like everything has been word of mouth for us. So like we haven't done any advertising yet.
Sure. I mean, and yeah, I know firsthand, word of mouth is the best type of client acquisition. Unfortunately, it's not necessarily scalable or predictable, but it's the lowest cost form of acquiring a customer. But when you're ready to turn up the heat, it's a different story. So
Yeah.
you guys work with 7, 8, 9 figure businesses. Is there sort of any typical hallmarks of a brand that is ideal for you to work with? Ones that you would leave alone, ones that you go, yes, you're perfect for us. We can really help and assist, with your goals of whatever that may be. How does that look for you guys?
Yeah. So ultimately, like what makes an ideal customer is someone who's a great person and easy to work with.
Sure.
Because in this type, like an agency, like line of work, like really a huge considering factor is the person that you're going to be working with. The relationship is so incredibly important. But beyond that, like we ideally want to work with people who understand the importance of testing and understand that like optimization needs to occur, and that we may be good at what we do, but nobody gets it right every time on the first try. So it's like we want to be with people who are dedicated to their business and dedicated to like the process, because it's always going to get extremely, extremely better as we continue to work together. So primarily people who are dedicated to their business, understand testing is necessary, and someone who's easy to work with, good to work with. People who are not ideal usually would be like people who are expecting home runs on the first try, unrealistic expectations, and people who are like scared.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the difference between like brands who are established and brands who are just starting out, is like
Sure.
they want, like the new brands, they want to touch everything. And like they're, and that's cool. Like some of our clients who we work with who are established, like we always give them the opportunity to be as hands-on or hands-off as they'd like. But they let us do our thing because they trust us.
Yeah.
They trust the brand to work,
And they want to see you succeed in order for them to succeed.
Yep. And the new brands really pretty much only care about themselves,
Not only that, I feel that probably new brands, because I'm very much in the same position with our, agency, that a lot of the new brands, they're reacting and moving upon fear opposed to an abundance mindset, and I think your mindset shifts slightly when you're more established because you understand the workings of the business, you understand what's possible, and also you understand the sort of the levers that swing the big doors open, and you know, okay, this is something that I can stay hands off from and let the experts do their thing, or you know, this is where I need to be meddling in and be micromanaging, which does nobody any favors.
Correct. Yep.
Something I do want to dive into is you mentioned before modular, and so I'm wondering if you're able to explain if you've got sort of a system or a structure in terms of how you produce direct response creative, one, to allow that to be at scale, and two, to be effective for its purpose. You know, is there sort of a structure that you might have, like make sure that the brand logo appears within the first second, then there's got to be some sort of social proof in the first 3 seconds, then a call to action within the fourth seconds, and so on and so forth? Is there some sort of a standard, obviously it changes from client to client, but some sort of standardized process that you follow, a recipe as such, without being cookie cutter?
Yep. So we start off with a proprietary system, and that's just a fancy word or claim for beginning with proven ad styles that have at a time produced 6 and 7 figure ads across any of the industries that we're in. So we're going to start with a collection of, let's say, 5 to 10 proven ad styles. Now, an ad, in essence, is really just like a formula, a template. Okay, each one of them will have a hook. All of them will have a CTA. All of them will have a problem, pain point, demonstration, authority, and there's a lot of these like repeating elements. Okay, but they fall differently into different ad styles. So if we're going to start with 10 ad styles that use overlapping elements, now we're creating modular pieces. And if we put out those 10 ads and these 3 styles, A, B, and C, work, we have footage and useful elements from these other ads that we created that we can now begin plugging into the winning ad styles. Begin to create lots of variations. So we're using what we've shot in other locations, but now putting it into the formulas that are working with your audience. And then that's like it in the easiest sense.
Sure. And how hands-on are you in the team with speaking directly with the business owner or their CMO or whoever's involved with the ad side of things in terms of getting feedback on the data, like going, hey, listen, the cost per click was too high, or the click-through rate was too low, we weren't getting the conversions that we required. Is there that element of understanding the data side of things in order to adjust and manipulate the creative content that you're creating?
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as communication goes, like we communicate with the client every day, whether it's good, bad, ugly, or anything. So we provide the update as if they're a part of our team.
Sure.
When it comes to the data side, once the ads have been running, we have a data tracking sheet. That's what we use most often. But we want to be an extension of the partner's in-house team. So we do work inside of their ads manager or whatever systems they have.
Okay.
But the data ads tracking sheet is what we use most often. And it basically just tells us like key metrics, CPM, CTR, CPA, average watch time, scroll stopping quality, things like that we can then determine which portions of the ad have led to the success or just been a bust.
Yeah, phenomenal. And is there one type of creative style that you're seeing, as this is ever evolving, and I understand that, and it's probably a loaded question, but is there one type of creative style that you're seeing work better than others at this point in time? Is it, 90-second videos, 30-second videos, GIFs or GIFs, or, animated, some sort of animation? Is there a particular style at this point in time that you're seeing work best? And let's just choose Facebook and Instagram, or Facebook ads as the platform of choice. Disregard sort of the others, but we'll use Facebook as the example. Is there a particular style of creative you're seeing perform best at this point in time?
At this point in time, we're seeing what we call, there's 2 that are working better than the rest predominantly right now. One is going to be your short 15, 20-second, more branded style content. People are consuming shorter content right now, and it's working well. But then the other one that's working well is what we call a UGC demo. So it's a spin-off on the traditional selfie UGC.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a more engaging piece of UGC content. There's demonstrations in it. There's camera angles or camera cuts, camera movement. There's cuts. There is a videographer in it, but it's very light. So we don't get out of the realm of like authenticity, but we're making it more engaging.
Sure.
Yeah.
So basically saying it has that UGC element of it, that raw element, without stepping over the line of being high production. So it still has that authenticity to it, believable. It's something, quite often clients ask us, what works best? Is it raw or is it polished? And the answer is both, but typically we see raw works best because ultimately you got to think about the platform that you're marketing on. People are there to socialize with their friends and family. Quite often their bullshit detectors are up if they see a highly polished ad. And so, from what I'm understanding there, you're trying to combine those elements where it's still keeping it branded and on point for that brand, but adding those raw elements to it to sort of give that authenticity. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And another major differentiator there is instead of only holding the phone and going selfie mode, we'll put the phone on the table, or it'll move just in front of the person, or we'll swap it to POV.
Sure.
And we'll be moving, so there'll be lots of camera swaps.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah,
very, very cool. And the first example that you gave me, you said the short 10-second, is it 10 seconds? Sorry, clip. Can you elaborate on
15,
that?
20.
15, 20. Can you elaborate on that? Is that again just a demonstration of product being used, or like a boomerang style, or what's the makeup of that particular video?
Sure. So these ones are hard because these ones at least not, well, they're not hard, but these ones are a lot more creative. So it depends really on the brand, but you're going to want your hook. They're benefit driven. They're aesthetic. And you want to be able to get them to click. So it's going to have a strong offer.
Sure.
Much more than usual. And these typically work exceptionally well for retargeting, but we're seeing them work well on cold.
Sure. So both top of funnel, middle of funnel, sort of. Yeah. Okay. And
traditionally, it had always been middle for us.
Sure.
Traditionally, it had always been middle, but we're seeing it work on cold now.
And in terms of placement or dimensions, are you always optimizing for mobile first, sound off? How does that typically look? Or are you creating, 1200 by 1200 or slightly elongated to get more screen real estate? What's the take? What's the take on that?
We shoot everything in the landscape, so we can go in any direction. Usually, the client has already, in our case, because of who we work with, the client already has a proven aspect ratio that they've just been using that works. So typically for us, we start in that aspect ratio. It seems a lot of them are 1-to-1 or 4-to-5 almost always.
Sure.
And then we'll expand out for them for testing.
Yep. Yeah, very cool. Sweet. I appreciate that. I'm obviously digging in, going inch wide, mile deep on your processes, on the secret sauce.
Of course.
Trying to squeeze out those value bombs from you as much as possible. But hey, listen, let's shift it up a little bit. Like I said at the very beginning, you are probably one of the hardest working dudes in the industry that I know. You have phenomenal work ethic. You hit the ground running. You put me to shame. I wake up at 4 a.m. and I feel that's early, and then I read what you wrote to me like 3:30. I'm like, shit, I better wake up at 3. But you have a phenomenal morning routine, and ever since I've had first contact with you, you've always been very regimented. I've heard and seen you've always, you've documented, you've diaried, you've planned for the next day, the night before, and how did that come about? Why are you that type of person? It takes a lot of discipline for someone to be that way and to continue to be that way consistently. Is there a method to your madness or something that motivates you to be like that day in, day out? Obviously it's a proven success model for you, but it does take a lot of effort. Why?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So it goes back to when we first started our first businesses and we had success. I read a book that told me, it taught me an important lesson. Like, in order to improve your life, you must improve yourself. So I spent the whole first year of like my entrepreneurship reading everything I could on personal development. And I learned a lot of like really important, rituals, tactics, and things that I carry true with me today. That really just led to like who I became. And as far as like why I do it, I want to be the very best. Nothing else. Like, there's no other options. I thoroughly enjoy working hard and achieving all that I can in a single day, Mm-hmm. So like leaving everything out on like the floor. I wasn't the greatest at sports, but I give it my all in work. So
yeah, and again, that shows 100% hands down to you. So give me a rundown of your typical day. What does that look like? Like, I know what that is because I've read it, but for anyone that's listening that wants to see a success model that's been proven, and you are successful in your own right, what does that typical day look like? Because I'm sure anyone listening is going to be impressed. This is like, for anyone listening, just to pre-frame it, this, if you've seen Marky Mark's routine, this is like a few shades short of that. So
yeah, and to kind of like give into like the routine, a couple other things that like I really hold true is like the earlier you get up and the more you do before the rest of the world is up, like the more time you're gaining. So if I get up 2 hours before everyone else, and there's a full week, that's 1 day and 2 hours more than everyone else. So I hold that like super true, and I value that a lot. But for me, wake up at 3:15, visualize, and really see myself winning the day where I might have obstacles to overcome. I do that until like 3:30. Then I do a cold shower to shock the body and put it in a reactive state. Really just wake myself up. Frigid cold, man, like as cold as it can go.
You guys are you're in winter there now, aren't you? You're in winter in the US at the moment too, aren't you?
Yeah, so it's extra cold right now, so it's great.
Shit.
But cold glass of water, your body gets dehydrated while you're sleeping, so just putting some water back into your body, and then I recite my I am statements and my affirmations. Then I'm at the office by 4. I write my goals and I do my journaling, and then that's like 4:15. I read something like for skills development for 30 minutes, 4:45, and then I like to like touch on another aspect of knowledge, whether it's like it's typically personal development, unless I'm like really focused on like developing another skill, or I'm having like an issue in my business that I'm trying to solve and add knowledge to be able to accomplish it. Then I have a like a dumping time. So one of my goals this year was to learn, acquire, and implement 520 new pieces of information. So like after I read anything that like I've just learned, I'm gonna like jot it down and put it into this like tracking system, or just like put it right out into the team, depending on like what it is. So then by like 5:30, I'm done with that. Overseas communication for our overseas clients for 30 minutes, and then I focus in on my wigs for 2 hours.
Wigs. Sorry,
before anyone gets to the WIGs are wildly important goals.
Okay, cool.
So things that like really are focused on working on your business. So your typical workday is going to be consisted of like what is called like the whirlwind, which is just like everything that gets thrown at you, the day-to-day stuff, the fires that you got to put out, the interruptions that you have to deal with. So I do my WIGs, the wildly important goals that work on the business, for 2 hours interrupted in the morning.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
And that's your day.
Yeah.
That's most people's day right there. Done.
Yeah.
If you're starting it
Yeah,
at nine to 5.
Yeah. And then everyone comes in at 8, and then, whatever I got to do day to day here. So getting in like 4 hours before, most people are getting to the office. It's great. So getting like 2.5 extra days a week.
Sure. And how much of that transcends into your team, your work ethic, your expectations? I mean, obviously as the business owner, you hold yourself at a different standard to what you do with your team. You can't expect them to come in at 3 a.m. in the morning. However, everything trickles from the top down. So I'm sure some of that's got to rub off on people. It's got to inspire and motivate your team in some way or some form.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I've had a couple people come in with me at 4, but a lot of the time, some people come in at 7, some people stay late. But the team knows that like the most important thing to us as a company is our personal growth, because we're only as strong as our weakest link as a team. And we value hard work more than anything. And mistakes and failures are completely acceptable. So if you're trying to grow and like acquire new skills or develop, and you work hard, like you've got a spot here forever.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think that's right. If you ingrain that culture in your team that fail forward, fail fast, that's fine. We make mistakes, but don't let it happen again. Or you're on your ass.
Usually like the 3-strike thing.
Oh, three strikes and you're taken out back.
If it's the same topic, for sure. Like
sure.
Yeah,
cool. And remind me again, how many team have you grown yourself to in-house and remotely? So basically in-house that come in day-to-day to your business, and then remotely just tidy. Because something phenomenal. I can't remember what that was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're at like 27 in-house right now, and over like 67 with remote.
What does everyone do? 27 in-house, 67 remote. What do you get, like a production line of each step of the way of your production process?
Exactly. Yeah. And then that's broken down, so like almost like an assembly line. But then we have it done by like individual teams. So we have Team Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie currently.
No.
We have their own set. Yeah. Next we got Delta coming.
Foxtrot Tango Charlie or something? No, I can't remember.
Yeah.
You're going to go through the whole.
Yeah, exactly. So we got a copy department, project managers, account managers, casting, production, videographers, directors. So it's a lot of people. But we stay super busy.
I bet. And that's a phenomenal feat that you've got that size of a team, and to date you've grown purely by word of mouth without any advertising. That's that's a testament to obviously the service and product that you deliver.
Yeah, without a doubt. Very thankful, grateful.
And what's the end game here? What's the end game for VizCap? Obviously you guys are making move. You're growing fast. What's motivating you? What is there an end game? Is this to create a legacy? You got to exit. You just want to be able to provide jobs to your local community. I think you're already doing that by the sounds of it. If you're employing 27 people locally, but what's the end game?
Sure. So it's a two-part end game. I would
Sure.
one of my goals is to be known as the most sought after advertising man, to kind of like put a shadow on David Ogilvy. That would be epic. But as far as VisiCap goes, the end goal is a 4-year exit, 100 mil plus, and to be the most sought after, largest, highest converting, highest evaluated 7+ figure e-com creative agency in the entire world.
That's a phenomenal BHAG. Phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is
What's the BHAG for everyone?
Yeah, exactly. That's my wig. No, was it the BHAG is the big, hairy, audacious goal.
Yeah. Yep.
So is there anyone currently in the game, in your industry, that is either, now let's say not producing the same sort of service and quality of product that you guys are, but in a position where you want to take your business, that they're there already, that you're sort of nipping at the heels, or can model yourself off, or be motivated to achieve what they're achieving? Is there, I'm not that familiar with the creative agency world, but is there someone there that's already sort of somewhat doing what you guys want to do and be where you want to be?
Sure, absolutely. So it's like the 4-minute mile. I'm sure you've heard of that. Like, once the first person ran a 4-minute mile, everybody knew it was possible, and then a lot of people did it. So our revenue or our valuation goal is modeled off of Mute 6.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they went for 86 mil.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of our other modeling has come from like pieces of different agencies, but one agency who does something pretty cool and puts out like large volume is Tube Science. So we took that from them. So we're now able to create like 100, 200, 300 videos per month client, and then use data to be able to develop optimization.
Wow, that's huge. And yeah, I'm familiar with Mute6. We've actually been a client. I've been a client of them for my old ecom brands, one of the first ones, and they've helped us scale. So I've seen them from the very start to the point where they got acquired from a Japanese company, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal story. They have their own creative department as well, but then obviously they do everything within the e-commerce space. So yeah, good modeling, good inspiration, I should say.
Absolutely. Yeah, we want to get into the full service, similar like they have. So things to come in the future.
Sure, and obviously, if you can corner that part of the market off and provide everything all-encompassing to your client at quality and at scale, then the sky's the limit.
Mm-hmm. Without a doubt. We're going to the moon, brother.
Love it. Jump on board with Elon Musk, eh? Oh, he's going to Mars.
Yeah.
So, I mean, far out, I'm pretty impressed. I'm going to ask you a bit more of a low-key question here. You've got a very unique style. What's the inspiration behind that? You've got a polka dot top on with a checkered vest and a flat peak cap. That's like, I know the creative type. That's very creative. What's the inspiration behind your style there, brother?
Sure. So the vest and the nice shirt is that I like to dress well when I work. It makes me feel better.
Sure.
It's inspiring. And the hat is I'm going bald, brother. So just hiding the baldness, but I'm still keeping the bun.
Oh yeah, so it's very very deceptive, isn't it? Well, if he's got that long hair, then it's got to be all the way back. Yeah. I feel you.
Yeah.
No man, I'm getting light on top too, so I feel you. Like probably not too far behind you.
Yeah. I'm gonna get the grafts though.
Pardon?
I'm gonna get the grafts. The little hair transplant.
Sure. Hey man, you might stem the flow of that the hair if you maybe knock back to 10-hour days.
Maybe.
Awesome, mate. Listen, I'm going to dive into just a little bit more about the technical aspect, just because I know that's sort of the stuff the meaty stuff that people are interested in. I know that I'm interested in. Okay, so you've got your agency. At what point were you at where you figured that, and what was it that allowed you to scale to where you're at right now? Because I can understand where you get a few clients, you're serving them, you're doing a great job for them, you're implementing your systems and you're implementing your procedures, you've got a good model on how to deliver quality and quantity of work. But I typically find there's a tipping point where it's like, okay, this is what has allowed us to scale. This is what has allowed us to make all these extra hires, and not only make those strategic hires to facilitate the amount of clients that you're getting, but also to make those strategic hires so it's not just in relative to the amount of clients that you're getting, because otherwise it's just this battle of 4 new clients, 2 new hires, 4 new clients, 2 new hires, and whatever it may be, and you tend to sort of blow out your expenses, you blow out your expenditures, and so on and so forth. Was there a period of time where you had to really sit down and go, all right, we need to implement systems and procedures, we need to automate our processes, and we need to make sure that the efficiencies are in there to allow us to scale, otherwise shit's going to break. Which, if it breaks, it's cool, because then you're testing the limits. But was there a tipping point for you, for your agency?
Man, it's been uphill like the whole time. I don't know if I could say that there's been like, I don't know if like I could say that there's been like a tipping point, but I could definitely answer more on like what's allowed us to scale. What's allowed us to scale is putting the customer first. So like building a relationship so strong and doing whatever it takes when things do go wrong, because we're growing at such an exceptional rate that the systems that we make, do they break?
Sure.
We're looking at like a month and a half before systems break because of how many pieces like get added in. So really just having like a great relationship with the client and like going back and doing things right by them. Because if you want to grow, if you have 100 clients and you want to grow 30% next year, but you lose 20% of your clients, like you need to grow 50% to be able to hit that goal. So we really focus on like client retention and the relationships that allow us to like not have to go search for new business, but be able to like keep it coming in consistently.
Certainly. So it's more of a client retention model aspect of this, because we all know that it costs more to acquire new customers or clients than what it does to retain. You always want to retain your clients, and the longer you retain a client, the more lifetime value you had out of them. And also it's just it's the barometer of success of your business, because if clients are happy with you and they're staying with you, that means you're doing something right. And leading up to the tipping point, it was just like a ton of failure, like a ton of failure. And that was like really like the main thing, because there's no gurus out there selling courses on how to like create a creative agency. Sure.
So like we had to build everything from scratch and like really figure it out for ourselves rather than being told something by someone and believing it to be true.
Yeah. And I believe that, yeah. See, I've seen that firsthand, not for a creative agency, but just an agency in general. There's a lot of good information, there's a lot of bad information, there's a lot of just people selling information that don't have the experience in doing so. And I think the path, the non-beaten track that you guys have taken and to where you're at right now, again, is just a testament to you, the leader, and the team that you've created, and anyone else that you've got plugged into the system that is helping you get there. So, and I know, obviously, Tyler, your partner, and Justin and Brandon, behind the scenes as well. So, you guys have got a solid leadership team there as well. So, my hat's off to you, sir.
There. Thank you. Yeah, those 3 guys that you mentioned, like, incredible partners. Couldn't do it without them. So they're a huge testament to what we have today. Sure.
All right. And listen, I'm keeping keeping track of time, and I know your time is valuable. What time is it over there, by the way, if you don't mind me asking?
6:22 p.m.
Okay, so for you, man, that's even though you start early, that's still the morning for you. Are you still rocking late nights, or are you just doing the? Yeah.
I usually try to get out of the office around like 7:30, because I want to be in like bed at like 9. So I'm still here at this time. Like, yeah.
You got to be with those 3:15 starts. Like, that's what's that? 5-6 hours sleep at max.
Yep. Yeah, 5-6 hours is like the sweet spot for me. Yeah.
Cool. Hey, quick, get my words out. Quick couple of last questions for you. 2021, what's in store for you? You got over the next 12 months. What's the snapshot look for you? Is it all about building the brand VizCap, building your clientele base, providing more offers, more services to the clients? What's 2021 look like for you? Once we put the shit show of 2020 behind us, even though it was good in some regards, but everything else, elections, pandemics, and divisions of bloody, people in the United States, you put that shit show behind you. What's 2021 looking like for you?
Sure. So, all business. I would love to be, like, until we hit our goal in like 4 years, like, I'm fully dedicated to this. So in 2021, our
Forbes 30 under 30
objectives are going. Dude, one of my goals, yeah. So we want to add new verticals to our offerings. We want to acquire a tech company to get a good multiple. We want to build a custom software. We've got like something working in beta, but we need it to like be built out more. And that'll basically, it's going to be wicked. But I can't really share too much on that.
Can you give us just a taste, just a nibble, just to wet the whiskers?
Sure. Data analysis, large scale video variations at automation.
Boom. That sounds sexy.
Yeah.
That sounds sexy.
Yeah. Yep. So that's something that we're working on. We want to add either the media buying or the development, the design, web design side of our business. So everything's business for me, man. Live and breathe building the business.
Well, we got that ambitious goal that you do have. I suppose that's the only way to be. And I think you're the man that can certainly do that. So, this is exciting. I'm excited to see your journey thus far. Excited to see where things go, because I think at this point where you guys go now, this is all about compounding effects. The foundation's been laid. That hard yards of 0 to X amount of staff and X amount of revenue sort of been laid. Now it's just, let's put fuel on the fire. And typically what I can see, this is when you see those compounding effects, and it goes like this, and then that hockey stick sort of growth.
Yeah, you're exactly right. The compounding effects is big too. You're exactly right there.
So listen, if people wanted to reach out to you, use your services, find out a little bit more information about what VizCap offer, if VizCap, working with VizCap is right for them or even right for you to work with brands, how can they get in contact with you? What's the best point of contact within VizCap to reach out to? Give us your details, please, brother.
Sure. So one of the things that we always say, like with our team internally, is VizCap is our spaceship and we're going to the moon. So we want to provide that same opportunity for our partners. So if you want to reach us by email, it's going to be spacesuits@vizcapmedia.com. Or you can contact me personally at Cody, CODY, at vizcapmedia.com, VISCAP media.com. Vizcapmedia.com is our website. And also our Instagram handle. So reach out anytime, guys. Whether you're a great fit, and we can do incredible things together, or you're just getting started out. Either way, lots of insight and ability to help you guys, and would love to see you guys grow and succeed no matter what level you're at.
Boom, you've heard it from the CEO of VizCap right there. Phenomenal. Thank you very much for your time. Good sir. I appreciate it. I know you're a busy man and your time is precious, so I do really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Appreciate the opportunity. And for everyone who's listening, thank you guys very much.
Cheers, my man. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to Staying on Point. Tune in with us on our next episode as we dive in, interviewing other fantastic guests, finding out exactly what makes them tick and how they've achieved their success.